Good afternoon. You may be seated. I'm Gail Hackett, Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the 36th Annual Faculty Convocation. I'll begin by introducing those who share the platform with me today. I'm going to ask each of the members of the platform party to stand as they're recognized and to remain standing. Michael Rao, President of VCU and the VCU Health System. Marcia Rapley, Senior Vice President for Health Sciences and CEO of the VCU Health System. Are they standing? Peter Buckley, Dean of the School of Medicine. Susan Gooden, Interim Dean, L. Douglas Wilder School of Government and Public Affairs. Monse Fuentes, Dean of the College of Humanities and Sciences. Joe DiPiero, Dean of the School of Pharmacy. Sean Brixey, Dean of the School of the Arts. Ed Greer, Dean of the School of Business. David Surrett, Dean of the School of Dentistry. Andrew Dare, Dean of the School of Education. Doug Boudneau, Dean of the Graduate School. Barry Falk, Dean of the Honors College. Jean Giddens, Dean of the School of Nursing. Beth Angel, Dean of the School of Social Work. Constance Relihan, Dean of University College. Rob Tomes, Vice Provost of VCU Life Sciences. Gregory Triplett, Associate Dean for Graduate Studies and Research in the College of Engineering. And Lex Tartaglia, Acting Dean of the College of Health Professions. Other distinguished members of our platform party will be recognized later in the program. We are also pleased to have members of VCU's Board of Visitors with us today. Will Drs. Gopi Jadhav and Shantaram Talagankar please stand so we may welcome you? Thank you. Members of the VCU Faculty Senate are also here with us today. I ask our Faculty Senate President, Scott Street, and other Faculty Senate committee members to please stand and be recognized. And would our past award recipients please also stand and be recognized? Thank you all for returning to celebrate the continued achievements of our fantastic faculty. It is my pleasure now to introduce our president, Michael Crow.
Thank you, Gail. Good afternoon. It's one of the most delightful times of year when we have an opportunity to get together to recognize this faculty and specific members of it who really exemplify what we stand for and really lead the way in terms of where we're going. I'm very grateful that we have a couple of our board members here. Gopi and Shantaram, thank you so much for taking the time to be here to celebrate this. This is really at the sort of heart of our institution. I also want to say thank you and welcome our two new deans, Beth Angel and also Constance Relihan. Delighted that you can oh, there you are. Thank you. Delighted that you can join our team. And looking forward to learning lots from you and certainly giving you opportunities to be a part of a great community. So welcome to VCU. And I welcome you at a very interesting time because this is actually the 50th year of what we know to be VCU. 50 years ago, we were a medical college and we were some professional schools that came together. And what an amazing story over 50 years. And look at what it's become, what we've evolved to. We've become this incredible major national prominent research university and academic medical center. It's amazing the things that you can do in 50 years. And the way I think of us and the way that I think about how we got to the place where we are is really recognizing that This is one powerful faculty with one really powerful mission, really committed to shaping Virginia society, specifically through our work in human development. And it is indeed true that we have been able to make an incredible mark on the Commonwealth of Virginia. I have often thought to myself, what would Virginia be like without VCU? It'd be a really, really different place. And so that's why we take the time that we have taken here to, and do every year, to recognize some of the most special and accomplished of our colleagues. And they absolutely personify not just the mission, but the vision of this institution and its impact on society. And what is society? Most importantly, of course, it's people. And so I'm delighted to share the stage today with my colleague, Arun Sanyal, whose research is incredibly novel, and I'll use this word again, very powerful. He, without question, saves people's lives. He sees liver disease and specifically solutions to fatty liver disease that really no one else can, and that's proven by the work that he does that is followed by people all over the world. Another of my colleagues, Paul Wehman, who has scholarship that has really helped to break down some serious barriers for people who have disabilities. He gives people's lives much more hope. He sees value in every human being and is able to be very clear about how they can become productive members of society, which is not only good for them, but remember, it's good for all of us because that's what life is. It's all of us together. Stephanie Call, I have rarely seen a passion for education, or specifically medical education, as I do in my colleague Stephanie. I had a chance in my first year to spend some time with her, and she's really helping to shape ultimately the care that providers will bring over many, many generations. She multiplies this impact that she has on individual patients' lives through the education that she continues to promote. And we're always trying to find ways to be certain that we are effective in teaching, and she is incredible at doing that. And she recognizes the changes over time. She sees the potential that everyone has to provide the very best care that we can give people. Blue Wooldridge is another colleague that I have been in many, many meetings with over time. And I look the wrong way because I'm not sure where they're sitting. But I know who they are, and I have their pictures in my head. But Blue is just a very passionate servant, someone who also finds ways to help other people find their way to service by bringing them all to the table. He shapes people's lives through inclusion. This is a guy who sees a world that is equitable for all of us and recognizes that we all have to provide service, those of us who have the ability to do that, in order to help get through some of the kinds of things that really are difficult and get in the way of the kind of equity that we need to achieve. Tressie McMillan Cottom is truly national, if not really more international, as a public thought leader and catalyst for change. She absolutely empowers people's lives. And what I think about her is that she sees ways of how to influence people succinctly with her words. And specifically, she makes her way to people who make policy, the policy that impacts all of us, and particularly the policy that impacts the kinds of people who really don't have much of a voice in our world. And I'm very proud of her for that. Gretchen Brophy is another steadfast scholar and compassionate clinician who has really gone to the fullest sense of her scope as a provider. She's helped to provide extensive work around TBI and specifically neurocritical care. This is an area that is often passed over for a lot of different reasons, that some are justified and some are not, but she has no justification for passing over it, and she improves people's lives. What she sees is that care for those with the most critical needs is absolutely possible in the best possible way. She's very creative in doing that, one of the wonderful things about everyone at VCU. And she's multiplying that effect through thousands of students whose lives she touches. And so what I've said about all of my colleagues is that they see something. What I mean by that is that they are all visionaries, but they are visionaries who have been able to figure out how to take that vision and move it forward to the benefit and positive impact of other people's lives. And I'm really, really proud of them for that. Just recently, I was in a public meeting, and last week we had a marathon, several-day board meeting, and I said some things to the board, and I've said some things in some public meetings that I thought, I really ought to be saying them here, and so I want to say them to you, and that is that this, without question, is the most innovative, the most caring, the most collaborative and insightful, but maybe most importantly, the most transformative faculty that I know anyplace. And of course, I know you a little better because we spent the last decade being faculty members at VCU together. But I'm really, really proud of this faculty. I'm proud of this faculty because of its transformative value. I'm very proud of what I saw happen in our first strategic plan, which we called Quest. It is amazing that with a relatively small faculty in comparison to what many of our peers have, the positive impact that we can measure, that we have had. Just a couple of things. Think about the fact that through so many of my teaching faculty colleagues, we have been able to make great achievements with our students. We've had a 40% increase in our graduation rate in this last decade. And that's about 20 percentage points over that short period of time. The impact you have on their lives and, of course, ultimately on society and the economy, for that matter, for those who are really wrapped up in the economy, which I appreciate and understand. Just think of the impact that we have been able to have. A 20% increase in the resources that fund our research. The research that isn't just research for research's sake, but it's research that really matters. It's the kind of research that impacts people's lives positively and addresses the most vexing and difficult problems that people who have no voices or have fewer voices have to deal with. And so as we look forward to the next phase of our strategy, which I refer to as Quest 2025, which we're putting together right now, I'm really excited. And why am I excited? I'm excited because if I could ever think of a faculty, any place, a group of people, any place, who could make big things happen, it's at VCU. And what I'm excited about is I think that we're going to shape what higher education starts to look like everywhere. And I'm very, very excited to do that together with you. We must evolve, and we are paying attention to that, I think, better than most places. We must evolve as our students evolve, as society evolves, as our patients evolve. They are changing, their expectations are changing, and we need to change along with them. And so, as I've said many, many times, we are a public good. How do we take what we do and continue to be certain that we're a public good? I look forward to serving together with you at VCU, and I cannot find the words to truly express how deep in my heart I am so proud of all of you. So thank you. Let's look forward to celebrating these 6 of our colleagues and think about the next steps that we're going to take together because they will be very exciting. Thank you.
Thank you, President Rao. It is now my pleasure to introduce Peter Buckley, Dean of the School of Medicine, who will come forward and announce the recipient of the 2018 University Award of Excellence.
Thank you, Provost. It's my pleasure to present this year's University Award of Excellence to Dr. Arun Sanyal, who's Education Corps Director of the Kenneth and Diane Wright Center for Clinical and Translational Research, and also a professor in the Department of Internal Medicine in the School of Medicine. You're about to see shortly a brief video in which Dr. Sanyal talks about his life-saving research, his innovative work, and what he describes as human business, and then also our university's collaborative environment. Please play the video now.
Liver disease is largely unrecognized in its early stages. And a huge number of patients are diagnosed once they've already developed cirrhosis, which is the end stage of liver disease, and not just due to alcohol. Once you have cirrhosis, your treatment options are very, very limited. When patients with liver disease die, their kidneys shut down. We're currently leading a pivotal trial to reverse that. Success is really measured in the individuals who stay alive. It's in the end a very human business. And so yes, I could tell you statistics, but those are just numbers. VCU has been a fantastic work environment because it's collegial and it's an extremely collaborative environment. It's the opportunity to have an impact at a level much greater than the one-on-one that we frequently have. As a physician, of course, we want to help each and every patient in front of us. But through research, which can only be done in an academic environment, we have the opportunity to save lives in millions at a time.
Sanyal, we're extremely proud of your work and all your commitment to our institution and to humanity. Please come forward with Dr. Rao so we can present this award. And I'll get out of the way.
Thank you so much.
I think we were going to take a picture.
Thank you, President Rao. A lot of people work so they can play. I'm really fortunate because work and play have merged through my life. And so thank you, VCU, for being my playground for the last 30 years. And allowing, through our work, to shine a light on liver disease and provide a voice for patients with liver disease who historically have never been given a voice because of stigma, ignorance, and lack of awareness. This work, of course, doesn't happen in a vacuum. There are too many people at this university who have helped shape who I am today, how I think, what I have done. But particularly, I would like to recognize my staff and in the lab, as well as on the clinical side, my nurses, who really allow things to happen every day and bring it all together for me. My family, who has infinite patience with my absent-mindedness. I'm the guy who breaks the light fixture when you ask me to change a bulb. But they put up with it with good humor, especially my wife. And of course, my patients, who not only teach me medicine, but teach me every day how little I actually know. So I have to strive harder. So this is not a time to rest on our laurels. We have to take on the challenges to meet the gaps that we still have to overcome in order to help all patients with liver disease, in fact, all patients with disease. So I pledge in front of you to continue to work with the leadership and with all of you to solve these issues so that one day we truly will have health for all. Thank you.
Dean Buckley will now return to the podium to introduce the recipient of the 2018 Distinguished Scholarship Award.
Thank you again. It's my honor to present this year's Distinguished Scholarship Award to Dr. Paul Wehman, who is professor in the Department of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation, also in the School of Medicine, with joint appointments in both the School of Education and the College of Health Professions. Please join me in watching a short video where we'll hear Paul talking about his wide-reaching scholarship and also the powerful work to improve the lives of people with disabilities.
Most people with disabilities, if they want to work, they can work. The transformation of a person who has been disenfranchised, nobody thinks they can work, and now all of a sudden they're working. We are maximizing a wasted human resource. people are working in real employment, and all the other people in the community are seeing that. When I see that person getting a job for the first time and no one thought they could ever work before, it's transformative. Every day when we come to work, how many people are we going to be able to help get jobs, real jobs in the community? Over my career, we've had several hundred people work in the competitive employment in the greater Richmond area, and it's just fantastic. They're everywhere now, and so I love that. And a lot of this comes from VCU and its big footprint. If you have this knowledge and you don't share it, then you haven't taken the full advantage of what you've learned. And our goal is to be the go-to resource in the United States.
Thank you, Paul, for your impactful work. Please come forward.
Maybe a little more to the right. Okay.
So why do I always have to follow the best guy? I mean, this guy is brilliant, okay? But I'm going to take the opportunity here to take just a few minutes. I've been given 3 minutes by Amy, and I'm going to take every bit of them. I want to thank the Department of Physical Medicine and Rehab and Rehabilitation Research and Training Center, my family, that is really going to get this award, not me. They spend every day making Paul H. Wehman look good, okay? Thank you, President Rao and Dean Buckley, for creating an environment to allow this to happen, and my lovely wife, Lily, and family is over there, tolerating me doing work at all times of the hours of the day, okay? 3 quick things. One's a research finding. There was a time in the early years, and I've been doing this for a long, long time, when people with severe autism, severe traumatic brain injury, quadriplegic, nobody ever thought they could work. And guess what? We figured out a way to help them get into jobs and work. And everybody said, yeah, wait, that's great, fantastic. But better news, better news. Within the last 10 years, we have been able to document through several randomized clinical studies that work is therapeutic. People get better. Somebody awakes from a persistent vegetative state after 3 months, and 6 months later, we're using supported employment, job coaches. We've got them working, less headaches, less fatigue, better self-esteem, and we're documenting this. Did the same thing with individuals with autism, okay? Head banging, stereotypic behavior. And these are individuals who, after 150, 200 hours of behavioral intervention, are not doing that anymore. You've got families that are coming in and crying, and they love Dr. Rao, they love Dr. Buckley, they love Dr. Seafoe. Dr. Seafoe, who I have not mentioned yet, saved the best for last, I was his mentor, and now he is my chairman, and he is somewhere doing something for somebody right now. He is Mr. Charisma, a bundle of energy. If you haven't met him, you ought to meet him sometime. Second thing I want to say is really more of a comment. I'll make this very, very quick, honest Amy, okay? Regenerative medicine, big, hot initiative in our field of medicine. We are doing in employment is regenerative rehabilitation, in my view. When you take somebody who's had severe bipolar disorder and their lives are empty, and you can get them employment, and they are able to be full again, you are regenerating their lives. Finally, I have a question for all of my colleagues in here, okay? And this is the reason I wanted this time, Amy and President Rao. As you all sit out there, some of you are thinking, why do I even care what this guy has to say? I'm more interested in liver disease, okay? I mean, I'd much rather hear about liver disease than about people getting jobs. Why do I care about this? It's not my field. I'm a historian. let me close by saying everyone in here should care. You can be touched by disability and illness, and you won't even know. All of a sudden, it's hit you, and you're not in work anymore, and work has defined you. Your family can be touched. Let me make no mistake about it. You are leaders in our university. You talk to hundreds, no, thousands of people every day. Dr. Rao talks to hundreds every week, okay? Please carry on the word of this kind of weird guy up here talking about jobs for people with disabilities from the School of Medicine, okay? And I have a rich, rich history in this, with the School of Education, and Andrew Dare is the current dean, but I've been in medicine for 30 years and really learned tremendous amounts from them. And all I can say is, please carry on the word that people with disabilities are able to work, and that this is a means for regenerating their lives. And I will just say again, thank you for your time and attention and letting me use this pulpit here to push my passion. Thank you.
Our next award is the 2018 Distinguished Teaching Award. Dean Buckley will again return to the podium to introduce this year's recipient. Dean Buckley.
Me again. It's a real pleasure for me to introduce and present this year's Distinguished Teaching Award to my colleague and friend, Dr. Stephanie Call, who's Professor of Medicine and Program Director for the Internal Medicine Residency Program and in the Department of Internal Medicine, and Chair of the Education Committee of Graduate Medical Education for the VCU Health System. You'll now listen to a short video in which Stephanie shares her passion for developing learners and preparing future physicians at an institution that she describes as the place of possibilities.
What motivates me the most as a teacher are the actual learners that I work with. Finding that passion within them ignites sparks within myself, watching them take off and start to develop their own life learning skills. What could be better? I really want to impact people in my sphere of the world, and I think education's key to that. And success to me are your learners taking off and developing and then growing and then becoming independent and then essentially really being even way better than you are. The people that I've taught now teach me way more than I could ever have taught them. Probably one of my favorite things is when we have a learner who may struggle and watching them work through that, watching them develop the skills that they may not have had and become a physician to whom I would be proud to refer my mom. There isn't anything better than that. VCU is a great fit for me personally and a great fit for education as a whole because it's an invigorating environment, it is full of energy. It's a place of possibility. That is an environment for learning. That's an environment for growth. That's an environment that promotes people going above and beyond.
Thank you for your leadership. Please come forward, Stephanie.
Parker Palmer, author of The Courage to Teach, once said, good teachers possess the capacity for connectedness. They're able to weave a complex web of connections among themselves, their subjects, and their students so that students can learn to weave a world for themselves. I go back to this quote over and over again because I think it's what we do as educators. VCU is a place where this weaving this web really is a reality. And thank you to VCU, to President Rao, to Marsha Rapley, to Dean Buckley, to my chair, John Nessler, and to all the leadership for really creating that environment where we embrace innovation, where teachers are really encouraged to think outside the box, and to push our learners and to have our learners push us. This is one of the only institutions I know that truly embraces higher education as an open, innovative, without sort of barriers field. I would like to thank those that support and inspire me personally. I was fortunate and really privileged to grow up in a household that very much valued education and a home of educators. My mom and my dad, educator and leader, fantastic role models for me here today. I live in a household that values education and that really embraces my learners coming into the home at all kinds of time of the day, and lots of phone calls, and there really aren't many lines between my learners, my teaching role, and my role as a mom. So thank you to my 3 daughters, 2 of whom are here today, and my mother-in-law, who really makes it all happen with her son, my husband, who also makes it all happen, and is a co-teacher as well. And then lastly, I'd really like to recognize learners, because learners are really what makes me tick and what makes many of us tick. They're where we find our passion. Representative of our learners and that connected web for me is someone who's become a dear friend who's also here today, Lisa Willett. She is one of the first learners that I got to interact with when I was a young faculty member and instructor in medicine more than 20 years ago. Sorry, Lisa, more than 20 years ago. But she symbolizes for me why we do what we do. I met her when she was really young, a young learner in medicine, and I was a starting faculty member. And I've gotten to watch her develop for over 20 years to really find her path, to succeed me in anything that I could possibly accomplish, to publish more, give more speakers. She's now the president of my academic society, and she has taught me more than I could ever have taught her. And she symbolizes to me really why we do what we do, and what all of our learners do for us. So thank you, VCU, thank you, President Rao, for putting education at such a high priority, for being innovative about higher education, and I really push and challenge all of us to keep thinking outside the box. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you again, everyone, for taking time out of your very busy day job to be here to help us celebrate these wonderful faculty. I'm Marcia Rapley. I'm a Senior Vice President for Health Sciences and CEO of the VCU Health System. And I would like to introduce to you Dr. Susan Gooden, who is Interim Dean of our L. Douglas Wilder School of Government and Public Affairs, and she will come forward and announce the recipient of our 2018 Distinguished Service Award.
Thank you, Dr. Rapley. It is indeed my honor to present this year's Distinguished Service Award to our colleague, Dr. Blue Eagle Wooldridge, professor in the L. Douglas Wilder School of Government and Public Affairs. Now, please join me in viewing a short video in which Dr. Wooldridge shares his own personal story of the role government can play in promoting social equity and improving the lives of its citizens and the university's culture of service.
I grew up in Virginia back in the 50s when we were living under apartheid, and I lived in a section of Lexington, Virginia called Mudtown because we didn't have good paving and streets and so on, and every time it rained, my neighborhood got covered with mud. In some cases, government hasn't been working for everybody. I soon became aware that, knowledge of how organizations work, and particularly the financial management part of them, was extremely important. My work is in public administration, and the first question is a program effective? The second question, and equally important, effective for whom? I particularly make sure that our programs are effective in improving the quality of life of the most disadvantaged. That's what, successful government is. It isn't the one that spends the most or the one that spends the least. It's what's our impact. VCU does encourage and foster and nurture public sector service or service to the community, which I really believe in.
we are proud to honor Dr. Wooldridge's outstanding accomplishment and service as President Rao comes forward to present Dr. Wooldridge with his award.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Dean Gooden. I must start, and distinguished platform guests, I must start out by thanking the excellent faculty in the Masters of Public Administration who nominated me, led by our colleague, Dr. Salter Liebert, and then Dean Jill Gordon and her college-wide, the school-wide selection committee I still think, by the way, my letter of nomination deserves to be nominated for the Best Fiction Award, Pulitzer Prize. I also need to recognize the reluctant support of my wife, Annie Wooldridge. I say reluctant support because every time I would mention to her that I was engaged in another service activity that didn't deal with social justice or equity, she would slowly shake her head sadly, and from her perspective as being the Associate Provost for Faculty Affairs at George Washington University, would mutter just loud enough that why don't I spend that energy and time publishing my research and maybe making a name for myself. For most of the 40 years we've been together, she has tried to make an academic contender out of me, and so I'm still hoping that she makes it. But going back to that letter of nomination, like all good fiction, it does have some nuggets of truth in it. And I was thinking about that, and the thing I'd like to emphasize here this afternoon is how service can be integrated into our teaching and into our scholarship. I have been most fortunate being part of the Wilder School and its predecessor academic units in the 31 years that I've been here, that we have had a passion to not only conduct service, but to let our service inform our teaching. I really do believe that some of the work I've done with the State Budget Office or the City of Richmond's Office of Planning and Strategic Planning and Budget, and even some of the work I've done internationally with the government of Kenya or doing local budgeting training in Hungary, just some examples, have informed my classes and given me some ideas for research opportunities. Just the beginning of June, I was asked to speak to the Virginia Local Government Managers Association, whose theme for that conference, because of last year's events in Charlottesville, was how to heal communities. And I used my interest in social justice and social equity to try to suggest to these 160 or so local government managers how we need to promote social justice in our communities and promote organizational justice. I know Dr. Rao is an organizational behaviorist himself, and we need to promote organizational justice in our organizations to reduce psychic, economic, and social suffering, both from within and outside of our public organizations. I've been very fortunate. I also agree that it's really great when you can go to work and think of it as play and enjoyment. I've had, and hope to have some more, great 31 years at VCU. I'm delighted to be at an institution and working with colleagues that value community service and justice for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wooldridge. I would like to ask our Dean of the College of Humanities and Sciences, Dr. Monse Fuentes, to come forward to introduce this year's recipient of the 2018 Outstanding Early Career Faculty Award.
Thank you, Dr. Rapley. It's such a great honor to present this year's Outstanding Early Career Faculty Award to our own Dr. Tressie McMillan Cottom, Assistant Professor in the Department of Sociology in the College of Humanities and Sciences. We are so proud of you, Tressie. Now, please join me in watching a video in which Dr. Cottom talks about her research in the emerging field of digital sociology and how her outstanding, remarkable work empowers people to change their communities, all here in the backdrop of Richmond, Virginia.
How does the new world of technology transform those social institutions that we really do rely on? How can the tools serve the greater purpose that then help people change their communities for the better? When we design with that in mind, we actually tend to come up with systems that are just more fair and just and efficient for all of us. I'm a child of the South. I'm deeply committed to being a Southerner. Richmond is a microcosm of just about every national conversation that we're having right now. You can never feel too far away from that history in a state that calls itself still the Commonwealth. We have a responsibility to people to give our research back to them. And so doing the work here at a place that represents what my values are is critically important to me being able to do the sort of ethical, rigorous research that I'm committed to doing. When you're walking the campus, you can't tell where Richmond begins and ends and the campus starts. And so being the public institution that in this state is committed to equitable access to higher education, it means that if we can transform the conversation here, it can be transformed anywhere. If we win in Richmond, everybody wins.
We are so proud to celebrate Tressie's exceptional accomplishments as now Dr. Rao presents the Outstanding Early Career Faculty Award to Dr. Tressie McMillan Cottom.
Well, that's lovely. Thank you so very much. I feel like a student who didn't read the syllabus because everyone here had all of their comments prepared, and I'm just going to warn you that I do not. So that's all you're going to get. I should also tell you that this is an amazing honor, and so thank you very much. It does, however, ruin one of my super secret plans, which is to keep expectations quite low. So that you can routinely exceed them. And so this has set up quite a conundrum for me. What is not a conundrum for me is my place in this university, and the reason why I have a place here is because I have a wonderful department home, and so I would like to thank everyone from the Department of Sociology, including our amazing innovative chair, Dr. Jennifer Johnson, Dr. Julie Honnell sitting there, who is the brain trust of our social science department over there in sociology. Thank you so much, Julie. Everyone here thus far, you can tell, has had tenure because they say their work is like play. Now, I cannot say that. What I can say to you is that our work in the Department of Sociology is a lot like purpose. And so thank you for a department that allows me to fulfill both my professional and personal purpose. I would also like to thank my very first granting agent is here today. That's my mother. Hi, Mama. Who funded much of my early research, and so I continue to have to thank her in articles and grant applications. When I ended up having this interesting path in my career, I wanted to do and continue to want to do research that will hopefully move forward our academic conversations about things that matter greatly to me. And one of those is the idea of the public good. I am a product of the idea that public goods, that our collective faith in each other, are potentially transforming. I don't stand here before you today as an African-American woman, Ph.D. and professor at a research institution had it not been for the public institutions that made me possible. And so I choose to be here at VCU in large part because of the legitimacy it gives me when I do my work. When I am at the White House, yes, I'm doing that. When I'm at the White House and I'm on Capitol Hill, or I'm working with senators and Senate staffers, or I'm working with public policy people, when we go around the room and we're talking about higher education equity and inclusion and mobility, I am almost always the only person in that room like me. Now, it's easy to assume that means I'm the only African American, which sometimes is true, but really not often, that I'm the only woman. I am one of a handful, but there are more than one woman in the room generally. What I am, though, however, is usually the only person in the room who is representing a public institution whose stated mission is to transform the mobility of students who have been systematically excluded from upward mobility in our society. VCU allows me to do that. And so I generally turn to the people in the room who are from Harvard and et cetera, and these are lovely places. And they say, you know, we've never heard that thing you just finished saying. And I said, yeah, I bet you have not. You know, you've been speaking to economists and to people who do not deal with the students that we deal with, and that matters tremendously to the legitimacy of my work. And so I thank you, VCU, for still being committed to what it means to be a public institution. We exist as a material reflection of our belief in collectivity, and that is why I'm so proud to be here and to continue to do my work here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cottom. So finally, I'd like to ask Dr. Joseph DiPiero, who is Dean of the College of Pharmacy, to come forward to present our last award, the 2018 Outstanding Term Faculty Award.
Thank you, Dr. Rapley. It's my pleasure to present this year's Outstanding Term Faculty Award to Dr. Gretchen Brophy, Professor of Pharmacotherapy and Outcome Sciences in the School of Pharmacy and Neurosurgery in the School of Medicine. So please join me in viewing a short video in which Dr. Brophy shares her dedication to training future practitioners to maximize the patient experience in the field of neurocritical care.
With the training that we do at the School of Pharmacy, we are preparing these new practitioners to engage with patients, to be able to counsel the patient, to be able to educate the nurses and physicians, and saying, take advantage of what you have available to you. Take that care to a new level by including the pharmacist in your team and really having that drug expert be there with you. Let's maximize the use of your pharmacist by recognizing us as providers. VCU has allowed me to collaborate with experts in the field in neurotrauma and allowed us in a multidisciplinary way to actually advance the care of patients. As a pharmacist in the neuroscience ICU, I am part of the team. I round with physicians and the nurses. I'm passionate about taking care of my patients that have neurological injuries. And that's where I've also then developed my research interests. And I knew that the opportunities were there for research to help just more than that bedside patient so that one day we can find a cure for traumatic brain injury. Thank you so much, Dr. Rao and Dean DiPiero. It's my pleasure to be here, and I'm humbled to accept this award. It's been 22 and almost 23 years that I've been here at VCU as a teacher, as a pharmacist in the neuroscience ICU at the hospital, and also as a researcher. I have grown with a lot of these people behind me over the years, and have collaborated, as I said in the video, with multiple different schools, as well as researchers and my students along the way. And I feel really lucky to have the opportunity to be a part of all of this here at VCU. I would like to thank again Dean D.P.A, as well as all of my colleagues at the School of Pharmacy for all of their support throughout the years that I've been there. We can't do it alone. It takes a village is sort of my motto. So it takes a village to teach our students and to take care of our patients and to achieve the goals that we have set for our university. For those people that have helped me get here, obviously my family for one, and they're very, very important to me, as well as all of the mentors I have had throughout the years. And because of those mentors, I have learned to be a good mentor, I hope, and I'm mentoring those that are at the School of Pharmacy, as well as a lot of the physicians and nurses at the hospital that care for our patients in the neurocritical care ICU. But it takes those kinds of mentors and those learners to really make your job, my job, feel worthwhile and again, have a purpose, as you mentioned earlier. It takes our patients to really feel like you've done something good each and every day that you're there and know that hopefully you contributed to better outcomes for those patients. I think being a motivated and sort of proactive type person, I've hoped to be a leader in our school and a role model for our students. And I've learned that again from a lot of those of you probably sitting here in the audience, as well as those that I've met along the way. I always wanted to be a really, really good pharmacist and a really good teacher. I started off as a chemistry teacher and thought, you can do pharmacy and still move this ahead and still see patients and really go out and help patients and people, and that's what I've always wanted to do. So a career as a pharmacist has been so fulfilling to me, and it's been something that is near and dear to my heart, obviously, and as I teach these students to be my colleagues as they graduate from VCU School of Pharmacy. And just to summarize a little bit about really what matters most in the world, if you ask people or if you think to yourself, what are the 7 wonders of the world? Well, as a teacher and as a pharmacist and as a colleague, I think I would say, to see, to hear, to touch, to feel, to laugh, and to love. And I would add to that list all of the support and love I've received from my husband, Don, and my 2 girls, Gabrielle and Sydney, as well as my family and my friends here in Richmond. I couldn't have done it without their love and support, and I thank them for always being there for me. So I think one of the best lessons I've learned from them and others is that you really can't take the things that look simple and ordinary, and sometimes we take them for granted, because those truly are wondrous in our lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brophy. Before we all together give our thanks and show our gratitude to our award recipients, there is one more group that I would like to recognize. All of our awardees have said thank you to their families and their friends. But on behalf of Virginia Commonwealth University, I would like to ask you all to rise so that we can give you the thanks that you deserve. Your support and your love of these people I know that it is your love and support that has multiplied their gifts and allowed them to share them with all of their students, all of their colleagues, and the world. So thank you for that. So on behalf of the VCU faculty at large, I want to give a round of applause that we share for the spirit that you witnessed today. The passion, the creativity, the dedication. That is just the tip of the iceberg of the faculty of Virginia Commonwealth University. And these, while we honor people that have distinguished themselves so remarkably, we know that this is in all of you who are our faculty. Every single day you give at this level, and we are grateful for that. And you see that in the graduation success that we have, that Dr. Rao described earlier today. That is because of you and what you bring every day to the work that you do with these young people. So thank you for that, and let's give all of these good folks a round of applause. And in addition, we have our student musicians with us today, the Howitzer Park Brass, and they played wonderfully, and we thank you too. This brings our ceremony to a close, and we'd ask you to remain seated while the recessional leaves the platform. But again, thank you very much for giving us your support, your time, your dedication today. Please join us for the reception out in the lobby area as we close out this ceremony. Thank you again.